Hello, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of FPL Affairs, the podcast that discusses our 9-month long love affair with FPL, including the ins and outs that keep us awake at night. In this latest video, Jack and I review what seems a lifetime ago, game weeks 26 and 27, how our teams got on, as well as the impact the latest round of the FA Cup and its events have on FPL going forwards. Anyway, let's get cracking.
And there's Mo Salah. There goes Haaland. He's on his way again. He's hungry. He's scored. Ice cold precision from Palmer. Kayo Saka. That is a diamond of a goal.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of FPL Affairs with me, Matt, aka the Veteran, and alongside me, as always, is FPL Affairs, the Master, Jack. How are you?
Good, mate. You?
Tired from a four-legged puppy friend that joined the family a few days ago. So apologies, viewers, if I have bags under my eyes or if there starts to be any whining in the background. That will be a puppy struggling to sleep rather than me. But anyway, yeah, we've got two game weeks to catch up on because of the deadline last week, the midweek one. So yeah, we best get cracking with those. Should we look at your team first?
Yeah, let's jump in. Yeah.
Right, let's do it.
Might hear some whining from me.
Okay, so game week 26 and 27, a full review for both our teams. And then we'll discuss those imaged. Right, talk us through your game week 26, which was your final week of the assistant managership, I believe.
Yeah, and as you can see, it was a swing and a miss. Genuinely thought Fulham would carry on their good form against Palace. And watching the game, or the highlights of the game, it genuinely could have gone that way, but obviously it didn't. So I just sort of I think I spoke on our last episode about taking a punt on Kieran McKenna. Quite fancied the fixture against Tottenham. Obviously it didn't come off, hence the big red. Yeah, it's sort of like well, other than Flecken, Salah and Isak, it wasn't that great a week. Obviously Trent coming through with 6, but for those listening, it was Flecken 7, Kieran McKenna assistant manager with 1, Robinson 1, Gabriel 2, Trent 6, Dango 2, Palmer 2, Salah captain with 28, Rogers 2, Gakpo 1, Isak 13, and Watkins 2. So I was a bit disappointed with the Watkins blank and also Gakpo. Yet to start, didn't start, so that was infuriating. But yeah, all in all, it was just an all-round bad week. Took a punt on I believe I was like 19 points away from my safety score. So had I gone Glasner, it probably would have been a small green. Yeah. But yeah, big red. Based on more things than just McKenna.
Considered and spoke of Glasner in the game week 26.
Yeah, I think it was the safe. I think it was the safe pick. And to be honest with you, after my big green the week before, I just fancied something a bit exciting. To be honest with you, I just sort of took it. I felt at the time. To be honest with you, the Friday I was at a friend's funeral, and I made the transfer early in the morning, and I just sort of went for it, and then left it for the day, and then missed the deadline and stuff like that, but got it all sorted in the morning. So it all really sort of paled into insignificance after spending the Friday at a funeral. But yeah, I just felt like I was in a position where I could have a bit of fun. Maybe if it paid off, do you know what I mean? If McKenna goes and wins and Glasner goes and loses, it'd have been a massive green. But it wasn't. It was a massive red. Well, I guess a massive red based on where I was versus where I am. Dropping 50,000 places isn't that big. but it is when you're 50k. So yeah, so big red for me, down from 58k to just outside the 100k, change of 70%. Yeah, like I said, my safety was 85, so had I gone Glasner, probably would have been a small green. But yeah, bounce back week 27, which was quite nice. Slight bounce back, pretty jammy as well.
I'll
Thanks
move,
to
move on to game week 27 screenshot. What changes did you make going into 27?
hang on, mate. I think the signal's gone a little bit. Can you hear me?
Yeah, just about.
Hello?
Hi.
Oh, you're back again.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I'm
I
still
lost
here.
you then. Yeah, so the transfer that I made was Rogers to Neto. Sorry, it seems like that long ago. Yeah, Rogers to Neto, which paid off 11 points. The rest of the team did okay. Gabriel got his clean sheet. I went Palmer captain versus Salah because it was Southampton. And watching the game, he had probably, I would say, 3 chances that the Palmer at the first half of the season probably puts away 2 of them. But he missed all 3. Had a good opportunity at an assist to the back post as well, which I think it was Enzo didn't gamble and just watched it run past him, which was infuriating. But anyway, Flecken was on for a hell of a score at one point, and as always, conceded late, and that blew that. Robinson was disappointing. I'm pretty sure he didn't start. Was it Sessegnon that started, and then he came on late, got a yellow card, and went to 0.
Yeah,
Yeah, and Isak saved my week basically by not coming on because Matt and I had been talking about benching headaches in the build up to the game week, and I benched Sar and then just had to sit and watch him do really well and panic and then hope that Gakpo wasn't going to play or whatever. And then obviously just afterwards we got the news that Isak wasn't in the squad at all. So saved my blushes a bit there. I mean, it was Bournemouth had a decent fixture, and I stand by benching Sarr. Obviously, he got away with it, but I stand by benching him. The other annoying, I guess you can't be too jammy. It had Gakpo not come on, I would have got Mikalenko on, which would have been another 5 points. So because he got 6, but yeah, overall it was a green arrow back in the right direction after the massive tumble the week before.
yeah,
Up to 89k from just outside the top 100k. Yeah, all in all, that was
yeah.
a decent week, just to sort of tick over.
Yeah. Do you want to read it through? Looks interesting. The points on the left.
Okay, yeah, so 47 points plus the 15 points from Sarr off the bench, which is ideal. Otherwise, it'd have been a dire week. So an old rank of just outside the 100k, new rank of 89k. So that's a change of 11.37%. And yeah, nice green arrow to bounce back from the horrendous week before. How did you get on?
Well, game week 26 sort of followed your trend of the whopping great week you had the week before. My game week 26 didn't go too bad, courtesy of Brentford and Isak in particular, and actually playing Munoz when lots of people benched him. So I did get that benefit from Crystal Palace's performance. Um, we'd spoke about managers and Glasner and so on, which we mentioned a moment ago, so I won't stick too long. In the end, because of the blank week 29, I just thought I'd keep the transfer and be boring reluctantly, and kept Slot for the final week. And basically, by doing that, because I had 2 free transfers, Dango for Rogers was always going to be one of them, and it was what to do with the second, and it was either Slot to Glasner or Mbermo in for Gordon, and I went with keeping Slot and doing Mbermo, bringing in Mbermo for Gordon, which is a 12 point benefit for that. The downside was obviously Dango instead of Clivert, but for the points there. But all in all, Pickford 1 point, Slot with 10, Gabriel 2, Robinson 1, Munoz star 13, 2 from Palmer, Captain Salah 28, Dango 2, and Burmo 14 to go with Wissa 8. And it was nice hearing them described as playing together, was like playing down at the park. The assist for Wood against Newcastle, and then Isak's return of 13 points gave me a total of 99. So frustrating to be just outside that 1 point outside the triple figure. But I was 18 points above my safety score, 12 points on the bench. Moved me up from 440.5k to 294k, which was a rise of 33.2%, and a game week rank across the world out of everybody of 202k.
Nice.
Yeah, so that because a couple of weeks before that I'd been sort of trying to please stay under the 500, which this sort of semi-solidified that really.
Yeah.
So it means my next target's getting into and staying in the top 300k. That's my next kind of mini milestone. So yeah, that took me into game week 27, which wasn't so great. I got a small red in game week 27. Pickford and Slot had obviously gone out, so I'd got the money in the bank from him. I really had no idea what to do transfer wise, so I just rolled, I think, if I remember correctly. Pickford still in goal with 2 points, Gabriel clean sheet and bonus 7. Robinson, as Jack's already mentioned, the annoying, he was benched and then comes on for a 1-pointer, but then gets in the final moments of stoppage time to get that 0. Munoz assist, which was great for 4 points. Unfortunately, yellow, so it would have been more. Palmer was very satisfying to see him blank because he was a spy this week because of the number of people that triple captained him. Salah 12-pointer from captaining him against Newcastle. Dango with a second blank, so 2 weeks I've had him 2 blanks, and is a slight concern which we'll speak about when we discuss next week. And Burmo with an assist, 5-pointer. Whistle with a star performance, 9 points. Wood with a solitary 2 against Arsenal, and the recovery light for me was Isak's injury. Meant I got Luis Diaz and his 8-pointer off the bench. And from watching the game, actually, when Salah put in the second half, the outside of the right boot that Diaz slid in and got a touch to, but just missed the post. I was like, by that point, from a Newcastle fan perspective, I was like, we've lost this game. So that I was like, oh, if only that would have got in, it would have therefore been
Yeah,
Salah assist doubled for captaincy, so he would have probably got bonus. Diaz would have got more bonus and a goal. So yeah, got me a that would have got me a green. But as it was, um, I got 46 points with the 8 points from Diaz to give me a total of 54. 4 points behind my safety score, and I dropped from 294k to 315. So a change of about 7%. So
not bad.
yeah, but 15k outside the top 300k. So that'll be
Yeah,
my next target. And again, with people, there'll be a mixture of some people triple captain Salah. But anyway, that's getting on to the point. But since these 2 game weeks, we've obviously had the FA Cup. So instead of our what did we learn from game weeks 26, 27, just thought we'd mention the impact of the FA Cup on FPL because there's been quite a lot of takes. The image I'm sharing is from Bren Krellin in partnership with Fantasy Football Hub, and this was done on Monday, so before the Forest Ipswich game, of which Forest won. Um, so as it stands, um, look at the game week 34 blanks as it stands. Wolves Leicester is definitely on. Chelsea Everton is definitely on. Liverpool Spurs is definitely on. All because of they're all
and
out.
Newcastle Ipswich.
Yeah, Newcastle Ipswich have been added to that since Ipswich have been knocked out. So those 8 clubs will definitely be playing. Leaving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fixtures, which could be on or off. But out of those, 5 of those 6 fixtures, one of the clubs is already out anyway. So it's just a matter about um, who gets through and who gets knocked out. So, like if Man City beat Bournemouth, or if Aston Villa beat Preston, then their fixtures off for 34. So,
Yeah, I
but
reckon that fixture's as good as off.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? That one's definitely off. I think the rest of them though, with having sort of West Ham versus Brighton, obviously West Ham are out. Southampton versus Fulham, Southampton are out. Arsenal Palace, Arsenal are out. Bournemouth United, United are out. And Forest Brentford, Brentford are out. There's potential there for there to not be that many blanks.
but
So it
either
might
way, it's
land
going to be a
okay.
either way, it's going to be a bigger blank than 29.
Yeah, but yes, it will be. But there's a chance that not by much,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
what I'm clinging
potentially
on to anyway.
either 3 fixtures or 4.
Mm.
But which ones, as we mentioned, I think last time we spoke, that the quarterfinals are just before the game week 30 deadline, so that's when we'll know for certain which fixtures are off and which are on.
So looking at that right now, obviously before the Lewis Hall news, I had guaranteed 9 players playing. So I've got triple Liverpool, double Chelsea, an Everton player, and double Newcastle. So
Mm.
I have, and I also have one Fulham asset and one Palace asset. So one of them is guaranteed to play because they're playing each other in the next round.
Mm.
So that gives me 9. There's potential for 10 if Bournemouth were to lose to Manchester City with Dango.
Mm.
There is potential for Forest to be knocked out, and therefore for me to have 11 with Flecken for Brentford. So I'm sort of okay with the fact that I've committed to free hit 29. The issue that's arose since then is the two injuries that I've got in my team, which are Lewis Hall and Gakpo is not in the squad at all this evening for the PSG game. So that then takes me down from right now, let's just call it 9 to 7. Obviously, Lewis Hall's out for the rest of the season. So then at that point, you sort of have to make a bit of based on that transfer, I need to make a bit of a punt on who I think is going to make it through. And same with the Gakpo news, if he's out for a while. And so I'm sort of, as a free hit 29er, feeling a little bit okay about it based on the amount of games that may be on if all goes well, i.e. one of Fulham Southampton versus Arsenal Palace will be on. And hopefully one of Brighton, West Ham and Forest Brentford will be on. So there's another two fixtures there. I'm thinking it's not impacted me too much. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to navigate through 29 with a free hit. Going to sort of continue to just play in the short term, i.e. like Hall to Munoz versus Hall to Ait-Nouri because he's guaranteed to have a fixture in 34. Continue to play the short term fixtures. And then sort of assess the situation post 29 into 30 and then start to rack up some transfers for the blank in order to navigate through it. I'm hoping that it lands well enough for me that I can target the 33. Well, the fixtures that are the blank fixtures within 34 are either going to be brought forward to 33 or they're going to be pushed to 36. Right now, it's looking very much like it's going to be brought forward to 33 if you're a gambling man, but there is still a chance that it's pushed back. I'm sort of, if it gets pushed back to 36, then it's almost advantage of free hit 29ers. If it's brought forward, then again, I don't see the downside in free hitting in 29 because I think you'll have enough transfers to save, providing there's no injuries, which in a minute we'll talk about the amount that's just gone wrong in Cup for everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's not as nuclear as it could have been. It could have gone bad.
Yeah.
I think the fact that Liverpool have been knocked out, the fact that Chelsea, Everton, a lot of people have got Palmer and maybe one more. A lot of people have triple Liverpool or at least double Liverpool. A lot of people brought in Cunha, which we'll talk about in a minute. So they would have been sitting pretty at one point before he lost his head. But I just need to really figure. They just need to decide whether it's going to go forward into 33 or into 36, and that will probably change my decision.
Moving off fixtures, really. Regarding the impact of the FA Cup is, again, it's things that have happened over the round of the fifth round, the last 16, has showed why moving early, transfers early, and I think the top two transfers in at the time going into the FA Cup fixtures were Cunha and Mateta. And I think the fact that Cunha, his mind blew for the second time this season, is temperament. So he's got, because it's violent conduct, 3-match suspension. As it's the second time it's happened this season, I think that's extended to 4. I might be wrong, so don't
No,
hold
that
it
is
to me.
that is the case.
Which then means people that transferred early have then got to transfer them out because of the blank. So it's very much made me reevaluate because sometimes this season I've gone early because of price value, and of late I'm okay with cash in the bank. So a zero point 0.1 rise here and a 0.1 drop there isn't a massive amount of deal at the moment, because I'd rather have the free transfers and navigate in certain game weeks. And I think how things have gone, it's worked out quite lucky for me, because I was intending on bringing Cunha in for 29, and I almost brought him in for game week 27, but I didn't, simply because of how well Wissa and Burmo linked up
Yeah.
against Leicester, and I just thought I don't have the heart to sell Wissa when he's got a home fixture coming up against Everton, despite the Everton form. So I thought, well, I can delay that transfer a week or possibly even 2 weeks, and that saved me a transfer now. So I'll just keep Wissa. Yes, it's not the easiest of fixture away to Brentford. Not away, can't be away to himself. Away to Bournemouth in game week 30, but it is what it is. I'll just be hoping for a high scoring game for that from both sides. But it saves me a transfer, so I could make a luxury one or roll it depending how things are in a week's time. But yeah, and Mateta's unfortunate. I think that would be a lot of people that are planning on free hitting or bringing in the Palace assets.
Yeah, that was my move. Gone.
Did you make it, or was that what you were planning on doing?
Yeah, no, you know me. I don't make early moves, but yeah, that was my plan. It's been my plan for about 3 weeks. So I'll watch the Millwall goalkeeper essentially boot my plans. So that was that.
Briefly, sort of. I know this is
The
sort
the
of not.
annoyance the annoyance would have been the annoyance about it would have been the advantage I'd have had versus non-free hitters with him, because nobody, if you're free
Prices
hit
stay the same.
29, yeah, if you're not free, if you're free hit 29, you're bringing Mateta in for Ipswich and you're holding him for Southampton the week after the blank. And that's the annoyance. The annoyance is that for those free hitting in 29, that was the one player that people like you weren't going to go for, because you're not going to bring him in. So that was the annoyance, because you had two. So because you would not only would you, I mean, people might have brought him in for Southampton, to be fair, but then at the same time, it's a short term move, because their fixtures aren't exactly like brilliant after that. There are better players with better fixtures, and also, although probably they would have, because there's a double. They got a double in 32. But yeah, it was just sort of frustrating, because he would have been a bit of ahead of a curve there. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Oh, you have to pivot in this game, didn't you? So I've pivoted. Yeah,
But it
is
just
what it is.
shows how like people that held off their plans, and while players have got cup fixtures, whether that be the FA Cup or European competitions, how that things can arise in those fixtures that impact FPL, because that's two players up front plus the uncertainty over Isak, and anyone, my heart goes out sort of to
But
anyone
it's
who
not
has
just, yeah. I
a
mean, it's
front
not just
three
them though,
of
is it? Like,
Isak, Mateta, and Cunha.
yeah. I mean, since then we've lost Gordon for weeks. You've lost Hall for the rest of the season. Isak's tired. Not entirely sure he'll be risked with the cup final coming up. and then so it sort of caused melee. And I understand making early moves to a certain extent in a normal game week with no midweek games, but to make an early move with like a 2 week break is just pure madness. I don't. My heart doesn't go out to them. It's just ridiculous. It's just stupid. You know what I mean? I don't mean to sound like thing, but
Mm.
it's just madness. It's such an unnecessary risk.
Mm.
Like if the money's tight, I get that the money's tight, but at the same time, there shouldn't be that many price changes in
Mm.
an FA Cup week because there shouldn't be that many transfers because people shouldn't be making early transfers, and if you don't know why, you do now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
I mean, it's just frustrating, and to be honest with you, it's happened to all of us, whether
mm.
it be, and it's impacted pretty much every team in one way or another, whether it be Lewis Hall, whether it be Cunha, whether it be Mateta, whether it be Gordon, all these different players that were really quite highly owned. Isak's obviously a massive question mark at the moment with such a big game coming up, and obviously without them being without Anthony Gordon for the cup final now and Lewis Hall, that's basically the whole left side. So
Mm.
what are they going to do with that? So yeah, so I don't think they can really afford to risk Isak in the next game, or maybe they can, and because you know what I mean. So it's just put a big question mark on a lot of things, and to
Yeah.
have the transfers in hand. Um,
We'll
yeah,
discuss
but
we'll discuss those in our game week 28 preview. That will be out. We're recording this Wednesday evening, so probably be out Friday morning. Fingers crossed, toes crossed. So, but if you've found this useful, don't forget, please like and subscribe. And the ways to get in touch, really, yeah. And hit that like button too. Twitter FPL Affairs, Facebook group FPL Affairs, which I need to change on this slide. YouTube at FPL Affairs, our channel there, and Spotify, the lengthy thing, which there might actually be one or two technical issues with that. I'm not sure what's going on, but anyway, YouTube and Facebook, the easiest way out of those. Anything to round off that review of the last 2 game weeks?
no, mate, just definitely tune into the next video if you've got some transfer dilemmas, because we're gonna roll through those. But yeah, just don't make early moves. Wait for news this week. Wait for press conferences,
Yeah,
and yeah, if you're free hitting in 29, attack. If you're not, roll where you can.
yeah, run where you can. And I'm echoing that more and more lately because of chip strategy. So, which is where, fingers crossed, toes crossed, I can make up some ground, which we'll look at next time. But the master, Jack, thank you for joining me as per normal. And all that's left to say is don't forget to keep your FPL affairs under wraps until the deadline has passed, and then plaster it all over social media, should you wish. Okay, bye bye, everybody.
Bye bye.